Get ready to meet Darrell. He helped a car repair shop grow 11 times to making $600,000 a month. He helped a doctor create an online course who made $12 million.
So don't talk about your business. Don't tell a story about them. Relive it, demonstrate it, show it, do it.
Welcome, entrepreneur movers and shakers. This is the Tony DUrso Show. You're at the right place. I thank you for joining in with us. Now, I'm going to ask you a very important question in just a moment. Now, guys, this question stands at the crossroads between success for your company or business or failure. If you answer this question positively, then the odds are extremely high that you're going to get something out of this interview and actually achieve a growth spurt. A big one. There is no doubt about it. Yes, the question is that important, and it's why you're listening to people who are at the top of their category throughout the world, whom I call an elite entrepreneur. And once again, this is not an instant route to success. Well, maybe kinda. It's actually extremely fast, faster than you think. And the answer to this question will actually achieve your success if you merely do the steps to make it a reality. And the steps are so easy that anyone can do it. Yeah, anyone can do those steps, anyone. And I'm on those steps myself. And so here you are, guys. You've put in your time to create and develop an idea, or you're helping a company develop and market their ideas, whether you're a car repair shop, a coffee shop, whether you have or you want to create a course on something and you want to sell it in volume. Whether you sell products online, whatever you do, we know one thing about it. You're there to generate some level of success, isn't that right? Well, I have a serious expert with us who's going to tell us all about it. We're going to speak with Darrell Stern. And here's that question for you. Do you want to go viral? And while we're at it, this is all about helping you and your friends move on your journey to success. We want to help you get very successful, and we're going to turn you into an elite entrepreneur. We're sure going to try hard. Get ready to meet Darrell. He helped a car repair shop grow 11 times to making $600,000 a month. He helped a doctor create an online course who made $12 million. And you know the book Chicken Soup for the Soul? Right. Well, he's worked with the co-author, Mark Victor Hansen, on some projects, and we already know that's highly successful. And so much more. For me, that says it all. Listen up, guys. Take notes. Let's get into it. Let's bring them on. Hi, Darrell. Welcome to the Tony DUrso Show.
I have waited all my life to be on this show, and it's happening now. This is fantastic.
Darrell, you're wonderful. We're all looking forward to having you teach us how do we go viral. Such an honor and a pleasure to have us here. Have you here? Have us here. Got me tongue-tied. But that's fine.
Listen,
I'm grateful that you really like the show. You're a good fan. I'd like to know, and as well as the audience, can you tell us a little bit about your backstory?
Well, sure. I grew up as an actor, a child actor in New York, New Jersey. Had a manager in New York City, so they would call my parents when I was in grade school and say, well, you got an audition. Dad would run me into New York City, drive around the block. I would go upstairs. We didn't have cell phones. So I would do the audition, come down and just go around the block. You just wait for him and to come around the block, get in the car with him and go home. So I was the voice of Scooter Computer on Schoolhouse Rock in 1983. I did a bunch of other television commercials and off-Broadway shows at something called Joseph Papp's Public Theater, New York Shakespeare Festival. I met Steven Spielberg, auditioned for the Goonies, and to fast forward a bit, I just kind of dropped all that when this floppy disk came out called HTML. And then fast forward past that, people started making videos, and I went back to, not realizing it, but I went back to my talent and ability to direct you in telling your stories on video. And that's where my theater came back into the marketing, and everything went nuts and went to big success.
And for those in the audience, you definitely got to check out his some of his videos on his site, stern.marketing. Stern is Stern. And it's just an amazing backstory, amazing what he's done, and extra amazing what he's done for others. And with that, Darrell, comes an important question. You've done so much for others. You've propelled people way up to the top. And I'm curious, what's your purpose on helping others to do this? Because, you could have just marketed yourself. You could have sold your own books and courses. You could have just made all that money yourself, but you went out to help others. And I'm just really curious, not to be so silly, but just why? What's your purpose behind all of that?
Well, at first, I wanted to start what's a website design business to design websites for other people, right, and businesses. So the business started as a service of, I'm going to do something for you. How that evolved is that I discovered and I learned that everyone is a gift to the world. Everyone has influence in them. And I just started to use my acting, playwriting, and directing ability to weave together those stories so that then with a little also optimization and SEO and YouTube tags and all this other stuff you can do, would make that story go viral, but in a way where you were solving a problem that then a lot of people needed the solution to. So the viral amount of traffic would equal the viral amount of customers at the same time.
It's very interesting. For the past 10 years or whatever, I've interviewed people. We've focused on telling the story on multiple interviews. And I've just never heard it so well put from this point of view because of your acting background and where you've been and how important that is. And perhaps it's because I've interviewed so many people that I have a deeper understanding of how important it is to really tell that story. And with that, we're entrepreneurs, we're business people in the audience. We're here to learn. Please teach us. I'd like to talk about, story could be done on audio and it could be done on video. And I believe that video is more and more important. It's been growing. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna be behind the eight ball, so to speak, on video. And even I am working on video as well. But I have to ask, is it truly the most important thing that we should focus on to market and grow our business? If there was a key thing, would that be the most key thing?
So it's not a mechanical thing. It's a performance thing. So I'll take you back in time. Vaudeville, silent films, opera. There was no amplification. So everything was overacted, right? Ah! Right? There was no amplification. So opera and everything, it's all overdone, right? Silent films, it's so overacted because it's silent, right? So it was overdone. Then the Russians went through a lot of wars and a lot of bloodshed, and along came this person named Stanislavski, who created the method as the Oscar-winning actors like Dustin Hoffman, Glenn Close, all these people use. And that is, and I'll sum it up like this: instead of telling the story about your past, relive it. In other words, relive the moment so that you're actually having the authentic emotion that you had at the time the story happened. So the problem, if you want to tell that, is I'm talking about my past or about the business as if it's somebody describing it in the third person. I'm not doing it with any emotion. An energy variance, which is the ability to be fed up and angry or crying or upset or super excited or whatever, that energy variance and be able to vary that in a story where it's not all one emotion. That's the difference between Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, or you name your biggest, either Hollywood star or public speaking star, and 99.9% of the people right now that are trying to post videos, right? So it's kind of silly. It's kind of like, well, you want to do videos. Have you learned acting? Have you taken an improv comedy class or a screenwriting class? No, we're business people. We'll just turn this on and start making videos. Get it?
And we also see that in posts, but a post is so small, so short, you can't really put a whole lot of emotion in there and a whole lot of this
Of
is
course
my
you can.
life.
I can give you an emotional story in 1 minute. What do you mean you can't put emotion in? Everything is
I'm talking
emotion.
about
People buy from emotion.
not on the video. I'm talking about just typing a post, just in words.
Of course you can. Everything in the word should be, no, hold on, pause the podcast. Everything is emotion. People buy from emotion. The words are emotional. So here's a hint. Never say the word think, say the word feel. How does this feel? I was so upset that day when the cat climbed the tree and I couldn't find it. I almost cried. That's the beginning of the story. It's emotion. If it's
That is,
not,
and
and as
that's
you're saying, that's difficult, I say it's easy because that's what I do for a living. But when you're saying, well, no, that's really difficult to do in the, in the writing of it, I say, well, I'm a dramatic writer. I'm a playwright. Everything you write is emotion. So I'm unpausing the podcast. Continue.
oh, I like that. No, this is absolutely great. I may not recognize it because I don't see it when I'm going through my Twitter feed or looking through Instagram. I don't see that. Maybe it's because I'm so used to it or I'm blind to it, but I don't see this. Oh my God, you guys, you got to go take my course to save your life. I don't see that in a couple of, couple hundred characters on a post.
Right.
But
And
I
that's
do
why all
see
those
it on
people are
video.
broke.
What's that?
Sorry. I said that's why all those people are broke from all those posts
Ah,
that you didn't emotionally react to and you scrolled past, right? And you say, well, I never see that. It's just all stuff that doesn't emotionally charge me. I don't stop to scroll on it. Right, exactly. And you didn't buy their course.
exactly. But I do see it on video. That's why I brought that up because video, well, you've got all the
Yeah,
visual and you can see it a lot better.
100%. Video works very well because we want to get to know, like, and trust someone. And now we have access to do that like never before. If it was 1985, right, and you wanted to be on television, well, that was a news crew and satellite dishes the size of a 2-story building and cables the size of a whale and all this types of electronic equipment. Now I can do it with the thing in my pocket and stream live and make video and all that. It's shrunken down to the size of something that fit in my pocket, which is kind of nuts when you think about it. The power that we have and the ability that we have. LinkedIn is free. YouTube channel setup is free. Facebook is free. It's all free. And then your phone, well, you got to pay the phone bill. You got to pay T-Mobile or Verizon. But
All
other
right.
than that, the power is in your hand. Go ahead.
I'm really thinking with this because I've been, I've heard about stories as I mentioned in the intro, but I've never taken it to such a level before as this. So I'm really kind of thinking with this, you know, I want people to read my book. I want people to, well, listen to a podcast. That probably would be it. But instead of, it's sort of like a layer. So in addition to, hey, I want people to know that this book is available. I want people to know that this podcast is available. Weave in a story into that. Another reason is it, or the bottom foundation is the story and the podcast. And hey, buy my book is sort of like a solution to it.
Not at all. So, okay. So let's start from the beginning. Let's market your podcast. Okay. So there's a benefit to listening to every episode because of the guests you have on and what they teach in it. So the title of the, let's say the YouTube title or the title of the podcast is not episode 76. Darrell Stern is on the show. That's not the title of the podcast. The title of the podcast is Learn How One Video Made $7 Million with Darrell Stern. Oh, I want to learn that, right? The other part is people buy based on the benefit of what you do, right? Not, well, read my book. It's a book. I'm going to hold up a book now. Here, this is a book. Read it. I want people to read my book. Well, why? Because it's a book and I worked really hard on it. Why? And I'll ask you, so then the other part is I go, so I'm going to read your book. What happens to me? And you'll say, well, you'll learn this and that. And then I'll say, and then what? And you'll get stumped. And I'll go, well, they'll like it. No. Then what? They're buying it because of the benefit. I'm not buying how you do it. I'm not buying how many pages are in your book. I'm not buying it because of the title of it. I'm buying it because what will happen to me after I read the book? What's the benefit? Correct? What am I going to be able to do? What is it going to unlock in my soul that I can love again? Or, am I going to, what is going to happen in the aftermath? So let's reverse engineer all that, right? So what is one of the benefits of reading your book? What will I be able to do after reading your book, Tony?
For the entrepreneurs in the audience, they write books on how to lead, how to do sales, how to recruit, how to hire people, different points like that. And they're very, very good at it because they've spent years and years doing it.
Right. Okay. So hold on. So let's take a sales book. So the book teaches you how to sell more. What happens after you sell more? Well, you have more money, you have more profits, you can live better, you can buy the house you want and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to reverse engineer the whole thing. right? And I'm going to say in my inbound marketing. So here you talk about storytelling. It is not just storytelling. There's modalities to storytelling. And then there's another type of video that no one's doing, right? Which is called inbound marketing. And those are the videos that stop you in your tracks and make you go, oh my God, I need to buy that, or I need to click on that, or I need to go to that. So to reverse engineer let's say someone has a book on sales, you would say, are you frustrated because you know your product is so great, and every time that you talk about it or Zoom about it or present it or pitch deck about it, the people say no, they're not buying it. Do you hope and wish that someone would buy this gosh darn product because you just mortgaged your house for the fifth time to make this product and no one wants it? You know that your mother warned you about this, and your mother said, if this doesn't sell, you're going to be living in my basement again, and I'm not going to let you get your own apartment again unless you get this business off the ground. And then you would say, what if I can teach you what you're not doing correctly? That is the reason why the book isn't selling. It has nothing to do with the product itself. The product is great. You made the product, but I'm going to teach you sales. And when you learn sales, you will unlock the ability to show the benefit to people and get them to buy the book, join my program, read my book. Do you see what I did? So I reverse it. Got it? So at some point in all this media or on these landing pages, let me go backwards. So we had the trifold brochures. The website came out, so we put our trifold brochures on the website. You remember this, 1999, whatever, right? So what does it say? Our business has been in touch for 20 years. Like, Tony's done 287 podcast episodes. He blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's nice. Good for Tony. Do you want me to do something? Am I supposed to do something here or no? Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Tony. You're interesting, right? So that all went away in 2010 when HubSpot came out. This idea of inbound marketing, which started with the basic download my case study, right? This interactiveness of the website, right? Where I would download a case study, it would start emailing me different kinds of sales letters and things to nurture me towards scheduling appointments so I could buy from you. I upgraded that in 2016 when I started working with this auto mechanic, and I'll shut up in a second because I know you don't want me to answer these too long, but I upgraded that to what I call a situational avatar, because I'm giving you hope. The first part of marketing is I'm giving you hope that I can get you out of the situation that you're fed up with, right? So I have a broken 1964 classic Rolls Royce with a missing carburetor, and I don't know how to fix it, right? So he's going to give me hope that he knows where to get that part and how to fix it. So then I'm going to hire him and he's going to do it. Now, the second part of marketing is prove it. Because, okay, yeah, the landing page says he could do it, but can I see him do it? Did I see him fixing other Rolls Royces? Do I trust that this kid really knows how to do it because he's only 26 years old? So then we film him, record him fixing Rolls Royces, explaining it backwards and forwards, demonstrating the behavior. So give people hope that you can fix the problem and prove that you can do it. Now, in storytelling, I can tell the story about how I was on the radio for years, right? Before I did this podcast. So I remember when I started my radio show and oh, so this guy's podcast must be really good because he's been on the radio before. Is this starting to make sense? So it's not just storytelling and a video. It's a whole, it's vernacular.
It's not talking, a story for entertainment. It's the key. Well, I'm sure can explain it better, but it's the key components that created that success. And for example, and for the audience to know, on stern.marketing, it's not a .com, it's STERN dot and the word marketing. If you go there, you're going to see a video. It's like 2 minutes long or so of an auto repair shop. And that really surprised me. An auto repair shop that you went to help. And the owner there talks about the success that he had, what he's done, how he's building out and adding bays. And it's mind blowing. And it's not a story. It's not like he did a song and dance, but he wove in his success and what's going on with his expansion. It's very short. I think if you see it in the audience, if you check that out, you'll understand a lot more. And I'm still trying to understand it. I'm learning just like you out there in the audience, because it's not a story. It's not like once upon a time. It's not that kind of a story, but it's a story of the growth. And Darrell's going to take it over and tell us more about what the story really is.
Well, sure. So there's technology, and there's some technology involved in this. So Google bought YouTube, which is very interesting because Google, the company, makes more money off of YouTube ads than they do off of search, right? And when you search for something. So if you Google the problem that you solve, just Google it, right? If you don't see a video answering that question or answering that frustration or whatever you Google, that's a hole in the market, especially in your local area. Now I'm going to add something else in here called local SEO, which means that if I type in Chinese restaurant here in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm going to get a different list because I live in Phoenix than you are in California or wherever you are now, right? So my phone knows where I live too at the same time. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the video of him fixing the car. I'm transcribing it. There's an old-fashioned thing called books. You know about books, right? So in the back of it, they're made of slivers of wood, organic product. I don't know. They're kind of old-fashioned now. But in the back of the book, there's an index, right? So you say entrepreneurship a lot, right? So entrepreneurship, an elite entrepreneurship, right? And it's all throughout your book. You're always talking about what it means to be an elite entrepreneur. Why that's different, right? So you link those all together just like so that when I'm saying this word, it links to it on another page. So he says carburetor here. It links to another one with carburetor. That one, he says single plane brakes. It links to another one where he's fixing single plane brakes. And on that one, he says Mercedes-Benz. So here's this page where he promises you, right? I promise if you're frustrated with your car repair of your Mercedes-Benz, guess what? I know how to do it. Come on in and schedule your appointment. Then he's backing that up with all these videos and articles of him fixing it. So he doesn't just rank number 1 on Google. He ranks number 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because the videos come up, the articles that come with the videos come up, and then the home page or the landing page that says he can fix it comes up.
Absolutely.
Making sense?
Yes, it is. Is that part of how you? I saw somewhere you took a video, one video, just one. You made $7 million on it. Is it just by
Yes,
just like that?
Yes. Okay. So there's something that we used to do in high school, or if you went to graduate school, especially, we did something called a research paper. So when you do a research paper, what do? You go look at other sources, you go read other books. Maybe now you're looking on Google for stuff, right? You go do research. So I wanted him to go viral, not with a cat playing the piano or something silly, right? But I wanted him to go viral for something real in his business. So most people, the problem is, Tony, is that you think the video is good. I think it's good. Maybe your marketing agent, maybe your mom thinks that video is good. So you put it out. Well, did you research to see if anybody else likes that type of video or wants you to talk about that? Or if what you're talking about is even trending or popular right now? No, you just put it out there. And then you're hoping that someone sees it, right? Hope is not a strategy in marketing. I hate to tell you, break the news, but hoping that it goes viral is not good. So I did research. I asked people in Denver, which kind of cars and trucks do people buy or drive a lot? And they said Jeeps. And I saw a lot of Jeeps in Colorado because they go off-road driving in the mountains and the snow and the rocks, and they love it, Rocky Mountains. So then I'm talking to these Jeep owners, and they said, oh, but Jeep has a real problem that everybody fears that owns a Jeep, and it's called the Jeep death wobble. So I go home and put that into the YouTube search, and sure enough, the top video of another mechanic in another part of the country demoing that has 7.9 million views. And then the next video of an auto mechanic trying to fix it has 500,000 views. And the next one has 600,000. And the next one has 36,000, and on and on. And I'm going, oh, the problem is already viral. So you're trying to shake content and hope it goes viral. I'm saying, well, why don't you just solve problems that are already viral? So what you're doing is then you're steering the traffic. And because of local SEO, meaning I live in Denver and everybody surrounding me in Denver that types it in would see my video first across the same line as that viral topic, that would go viral. So sure enough, we put out that video in July of 2016. A month or two later, he messages me on Facebook and he says, you know, that video's made me $20,000. I said, wait a minute, maybe I'm right. Because it was a theory. I thought, well, maybe this would work. You know, it's logical. I thought it would work. So I go and I look at the video and it has 15,000 views. Over 8 years, the video now has 199,000 views, 1,500 likes, 212 comments that stretched out all across the country. He actually got a call from Hawaii and France. And this kid's a kid. He's a kid on a dirt road in Englewood, Colorado, you know, in an industrial park with 5 of his buddies fixing cars. And he's getting calls from all over the country. But also, he got about 1,500 people paid him for the $5,000 repair, and that equals $7.9 million. It really put him on the map. Investors came along. They let him take over a bigger place. So we went from 5 mechanics to 25 mechanics overnight in 2015. That's when the luxury car dealerships came along and offered him $100 million to buy him out, because he was explaining how Volkswagen Auto Group makes the Lamborghini oil filter. It's the same part number as the Lamborghini. So you want to pay $300 or $3.85 for the same part. And he hold them both up. And he just bashed through all that luxury arc and all that. So in the end, he went to $600,000 a month from $50,000. But then it gets really cool. You know this term influencer, Tony?
I've heard it.
Influencer. I'm an influencer. You hear this, right? An influencer is someone who demonstrates their expertise or their eliteness, right? Their, an elite entrepreneur, elite car mechanic, right? He's at the top. So he chose to be in the Forbes 30 under 30. They sent him to Tel Aviv to work with Google and Apple on driver safety apps. He got in every automobile parts magazine. So I reverse engineered influence, which is just go down to his garage at 4 a.m. before the other cars go in there. And he would just close his eyes. I didn't have to edit him. He would say, go. And he would just tell me the whole story of what he's doing fixing this car. So I just amplified what he already knows. You know what I mean? I didn't teach him anything new. I didn't make him do anything differently than he normally does. I just got him to use the internet to amplify so everybody else could bear witness to him. So don't talk about your business. Don't tell a story about them. Relive it, demonstrate it, show it, do it. And in us bearing witness to you being how you are in your gifts, the implication is what sells it. Wow, that guy really knows how to fix cars. He seems like a really nice guy. My gosh, is he a whiz at this? And that establishes the highest form after Zig Ziglar is trust. I trust the kid. He knows what he's doing. And that's it. Then we're done.
It's absolutely astounding. And I'm soaking it up. I'm getting a lot more of this. And as I mentioned to the audience, we are just now starting to work together. And this is so refreshing because it takes me on a whole new level. I thought I knew marketing. I'm going to use the bad word. I've learned a new bad word. Now, just to be very simple, anytime I say don't or no, I don't even like to even say those words. I think they're bad words. But now I've learned a new one from you, and that is hope or try. And I know we've all heard it before, but you really taught me. It taught me here. When you really know what you're doing, there's no hope in it because you've got this.
Well, I wouldn't say it that way. So I believe in what Master Yoda said in The Empire Strikes Back in 1980, and he said, "Do or do not. There is no try." And then we lifted the ship out of the swamp. Luke Skywalker says, "I don't believe it," and he says, "That is why you fail." Right?
So true.
So it's give people hope. So here's the issue: it's give people hope that you can get them out of the situation they're in. Now, their situation might be they're depressed. Their situation may be they own a 1961 Rolls Royce with a broken carburetor. Their situation may be they're an entrepreneur, but they want to be an elite entrepreneur, right? So you're giving them hope and you're saying, are you frustrated because you've tried all these things and it doesn't work? Why don't you take a look at what I'm doing and I'll show that it works. And then after that's the inbound, the other rest of it is doing it. Now, I'm going to add I'm going to twist it now because you talked about telling stories at the beginning of this. I'm going to go back to that. Then there is social. Now, social comes from a Latin word meaning Socii, because there was a city-state in ancient Greece and ancient Rome called Socii that made an alliance with another one when they were fighting the Trojans and all that. So it means alliance. So sometimes you're just telling a story to create alliances with other people and or to get a lot of people rooting for you or cheering for you. So I just started working with a local carpet installer guy, carpet and flooring. And he's just telling his story. When I work with a client, I just have them tell stories from their life. So it turns out he was born in Chicago. We're in Arizona, right? And there's lots of Chicago people here, and people know Chicago. So all he did was tell a story about growing up with the 1985 Bears and just growing up. The first video we posted him on LinkedIn got 78 responses and comments and all this kind of stuff. Now, why is that important? Just because when you go to a social atmosphere, let's say we were part of the men's elite entrepreneur club, right? We go every day, we go to the cigar place downtown, right? And we meet for the men's club of elite entrepreneurs. What are you going to do with that? You're going to tell stories, right? And you're not pitching anybody. You're telling stories from your life. So what's social? Let's get to know each other. So on top of everything that I told you before, there's something else on top of that, which is just tell a story from your life, right? And in the new way that I use AI now to take the transcriptions of the videos and format them correctly, and this is for another episode because there's more to it than that, in that, again, letting people bear witness to you and who you are and giving your brand character development. What's that? So MacGyver, every episode of the show, he had to escape with a piece of bubblegum. So eventually the show got kind of like, okay, he's going to pull out the bubblegum now and escape, right? Yep. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the same thing in every episode. Well, eventually that dies, right? So even if all the time you're talking about, look at my elite entrepreneurial podcast. Here's my elite. Well, guess what? I have another elite entrepreneur. I'm going to get bored. I'm going to get tired of telling the same story. So to mix it up in a soup, sometimes I had that auto mechanic tell stories about how he grew up. He was jealous of his sister getting a car, so he started a snowblowing business. And then he eventually got that business so big that he paid for his own college education, not just a car. But in that story, you hear his smarts in business. So today he's fixing cars, but he doesn't necessarily have to talk about fixing cars all the time. He actually can just demonstrate that he has business savvy. And that's another thing that will attract you to working with him. Do you understand? So it's all around the character, too, of your brand.
I love it. There's so much to learn. I can't wait to continue working with you on this. And one last thing I want to make sure is, you may have talked about it, but you said earlier, you said off camera, that there was one tip that nobody uses. So did we talk about that yet? The one thing, like the secret sauce here?
So I'll give you one tip that I really love, okay? There's a movie called Interstellar. It's an outer space movie, and Matthew McConaughey goes light speed into outer space to save the world, right? And back at home, he leaves his 8-year-old daughter. Now, in a couple hours in outer space, because he went through light speed, his daughter is now 28, but he has only aged a couple hours, okay? So his daughter, now 28, and this is kind of ridiculous, but somehow she sends him a video message. How this is possible through light speed, I don't know. But she sends him a video message, and she's crying because she misses her dad the past 20 years. And when he gets the message, he starts crying. Now, she sent it through time, light speed, 1,000,000 trillion miles. But when he gets it, it's as if they're face to face. And when you pick up this phone and you talk to the camera, I want you to talk to someone that you care about. And I want you to give them care and love and pause and listen to them, even though they're not there yet. Because the ultimate illusion that I'm creating when I make videos in a theater modality is that I made this video just for you at this moment. And I really honestly do care about you and the situation that you're in. And I would love to help you in some way. There it is.
I like that. I like that a lot. I'm going to work on how to put that together.
Of course, I'll teach you.
Yes, you will. I am so great. Darrell, this is absolutely amazing. We've learned quite a bit, and I'm going to go through this over and over, and we are going to work together again. Once again, this is Darrell Stern. We're talking about, do you want to go viral? And he's at stern.marketing, STERN.marketing. Stern, absolutely love it. Anything else you want to say to the audience? Anything else in closing? Because you are a whirlwind's not quite the right word, but you have a plethora of information, and it's not just that you know things; you've used them to incredible success, the success many of us dream about. So I'm going to let you. Anything else you'd like to say in closing to the audience?
Well, since I love Star Wars so much, they started calling me the digital marketing Jedi, so I adopted that phrase. But the most important thing in life is something that Yoda says to Luke Skywalker when he's at Yoda's house in The Empire Strikes Back. And he says, control. You must learn control. And this is all show business. So when you're in control of your emotions, control of your facial expressions, control of your vocal intonation, when you control of your listening and all these other things, that you're paying hyper attention. Like when I'm speaking to you now, I'm in like hyper mode. I'm sitting on the top of my chair. I'm articulating every single syllable right? I mean, I'm not in regular Darrell Stern mode. I'd be like sitting back having a pizza going, yeah, how you guys doing? Right? I'm in hyper Darrell mode. So this is show business, and you have to take a little bit of an acting class, a little bit of a public speaking class, a little bit of playwriting to pull this off and to jump above and become truly an elite entrepreneur.
I love it. Darrell, that was so good. I just want to thank you so much and hang on the line. And I just want to say to those that listen to the end, a special thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate your patronage to our show. And would you do me a favor? Can you share this with a few friends to help them too? All right, let's use this and let's help you move on your journey to success. Guys, just take action. Success awaits those who persevere and remain steadfast despite the odds. Sow good seeds, do good deeds, and join me on the next episode of The Tony DUrso Show.